The stars above Earth had always been a source of wonder for humans. Children grew up staring at the night sky, dreaming of the planets beyond their reach. By the 22nd century, humanity had grown bold enough to reach those planets, build colonies, and even join the Galactic Council, a powerful group of alien civilizations. Humans were proud. They believed they had finally found a place among the stars, a future where they would grow and explore without limits. Earth had been trusted to help the Council. Humans were engineers, builders, and explorers. Their fleet was not the largest, but it was fast, clever, and adaptable. Humans had provided technologies, trade routes, and even peacekeeping forces in Council territories. For a time, humans thought they were equal partners. Jack Morrow, a senior strategist in the Earth fleet, remembered the early meetings with the Council. Aliens with sleek shapes, strange colors, and strange ways of speaking had welcomed him and his team. The Council spoke of cooperation, of unity, of shared knowledge. Jack had believed them. For the first few years, humans followed the Council's guidance. They limited their fleet size, gave up some experimental weapons, and let aliens manage trade and diplomacy. Humans had a quiet pride. They were small players, but they were smart, and they had their own way of doing things. Jack had always thought humans could rise without fighting, using their mind and skill rather than pure power. But things began to change. A distant border, far beyond Earth's colonies, became the center of conflict. An aggressive alien coalition, unknown to many humans, began attacking minor Council worlds. The Council called meetings and prepared a response. Humans were invited to help, and for a moment they felt important again. Earth engineers built new ships, strategists studied enemy tactics, and scientists created new energy systems. Jack worked day and night along with his team to prepare the Earth fleet. Then the betrayal came. Jack discovered it almost by accident. He was reviewing communications logs in an old Council database when he saw messages that were meant to be secret. The Council had been discussing the conflict without telling humans. Worse, they had voted to let human colonies fall to the enemy in exchange for their own safety. Humans were never to be told the truth. Any attempt to intervene would be blocked. Earth had been nothing more than a pawn. The shock hit him like a physical blow. His hands shook as he read the messages. Every calculation, every plan, every effort humans had made, all of it had been ignored. The Council had chosen to sacrifice humanity. Jack felt a mixture of anger, disbelief, and fear. He knew he had to tell someone, but whom? Could humans even fight back against the Council at that moment? Jack went straight to Laura Bennett, the civilian leader of Earth. She had always been calm, wise, and decisive. Unlike military officers, she looked at problems not as battles to win, but as challenges to survive. Jack explained everything to her, showing the logs and messages. Laura read them carefully. Her face was unreadable, but her hands gripped the table tightly. "This changes everything," she said finally. "We cannot trust the Council. We cannot stay where they can control us." But open war now would be suicide. Jack nodded. He had thought about it. Earth's fleet was strong, but not strong enough to face the combined forces of the Council and their allies. Any direct attack would end in destruction. "Then what do we do?" he asked. "We prepare," Laura said. "We withdraw quietly, but we do not give up. We retreat, we rebuild, and we make sure we survive. One day we will be ready to stand again, but for now we survive." The fleet began to withdraw. Ships left Council space in silence, moving through hidden routes, avoiding sensors. Humans did not want to be seen. It was a strange feeling for Jack. Humans had spent decades learning to explore, to fight, and to trust. Now they had to hide. Some crews were angry. Some were scared. Others were silent, thinking about what had been lost. Meanwhile, on the Council worlds, humans' withdrawal was seen as a failure. The Council celebrated their peaceful victory. Humans were dismissed as naive, weak, and unimportant. No one noticed that Earth was not defeated. Humans were thinking, planning, and quietly learning. They were changing in ways the Council could not understand. Back on Earth, Ethan Cross, a young engineer, worked on designs for new ships. He and Maya Lopez, another engineer, were tasked with building ships in secret. They used old asteroid belts and hidden moons to set up shipyards. The designs were different from Council ships. Humans used modular systems, ships that could be rebuilt or changed quickly. They created engines that could move faster and systems that could adapt in battle. "The Council will never expect this," Ethan said, examining a blueprint. They think we're weak. They think we'll never fight back. They are wrong. Maya nodded. They don't know what humans are capable of. They think we need them. We don't. Not anymore. Jack watched the young engineers with pride. He knew that humans were not just survivors. They were becoming something more, something that could not be predicted or controlled. Humanity's culture also began to shift. The betrayal left deep scars. People did not act out of hatred, but out of determination. Children were taught not only to explore, but to question. Scientists were encouraged to experiment, even in ways that council rules had forbidden. Soldiers trained harder, learning not only tactics but patience and strategy. Humans learned to survive without relying on allies they could not trust. Even though humans were preparing for the future, life went on. On Earth, cities continued to grow, children still played, and families still celebrated. But everywhere there was a quiet understanding. Humans were no longer naive. They had seen betrayal, and they would not forget it. Jack often thought about the council. He remembered the faces of the alien delegates, their smiles, their words of friendship. He had once trusted them completely. Now he understood that trust was a weapon, one the council had used against humanity, yet he did not dwell on anger for long. Anger could be dangerous. Humans needed focus, not blind rage. He also thought about the fleet crews. They had been shaken by the news, unsure whether to follow orders or fight back. Jack walked among them, talking to them quietly. "We are not defeated," he told them. "We are learning." One day the council will see humans not as pawns but as equals, and that day will come on our terms. For years, humans worked in silence. Ships were built, engines were tested, and strategies were planned. The council thought that humans had disappeared into obscurity. But humans had simply gone underground. They were learning, growing, and becoming something the council could never predict. Jack often visited the hidden shipyards, watching Ethan and Maya at work. Sometimes he saw young recruits practicing maneuvers on simulation decks. Some were nervous, some were excited. All of them were learning that survival was more than a battle, it was a way of thinking. Laura Bennett continued to guide the civilian world. She made sure resources were distributed fairly, that society remained strong, and that hope never died. "Hope is not enough," she told Jack one evening as they watched the stars. "But neither is despair. Humans must remember who they are. That is what will make us strong." Jack nodded. He understood. Humans were small compared to the council, but they had something the council could never take: memory, intelligence, and determination. And so Earth waited, quietly, patiently. Humans looked at the stars not with fear, but with resolve. They were preparing for a day when the betrayal would not matter anymore, when humans would not need permission to exist among the stars. Jack often imagined that day. He imagined fleets of human ships moving with speed and precision, not just defending but controlling space with cleverness and strategy. He imagined scientists and engineers creating technologies that even the council could not match. And he imagined a world where humans were never again treated as pawns. For now, humans hid and waited. But in their hidden shipyards, in the minds of their engineers, and in the hearts of their soldiers, a quiet fire burned. The fire of determination, the fire of survival. The fire of humanity. And even though the council thought humans were gone, the people of Earth knew better. They were alive, they were learning, they were preparing. And someday the stars would remember them. After withdrawing from council space, humans were no longer under anyone's rules. Earth was free, but that freedom came with responsibility. The betrayal had taught humanity a hard lesson. Trust could be dangerous, and survival depended on preparation. Humans had lost much, but they had not lost hope. They had not lost their courage. Ethan Cross walked through a hidden shipyard inside a giant asteroid. The walls were made of metal plates welded together by Earth engineers. The ceilings were low, filled with pipes and cables that hummed softly with energy. Huge modular ships were being built in silence. Each ship looked simple from the outside, but inside it could change shape, weapons, and engines. These ships were meant to be clever, not just strong. Maya Lopez worked nearby, adjusting the energy cores of a new ship. "If we do this right," she said, "the council will never be able to predict our moves. They'll think we're weak, and then it will be too late for them." Ethan smiled, a rare moment of lightness in a place full of work. "I like that idea," he said. "They always underestimate us. That's our advantage." Humans had learned to hide in plain sight. They did not broadcast signals, they avoided council sensors, and they kept most operations deep inside asteroids, moons, or unclaimed planets. Even when humans traveled through space, they used stealth technology that the Council had never seen. Their ships could appear as tiny rocks or space debris. Jack Morrow oversaw the fleet's strategy. He spent hours studying Council fleets and alien tactics. He wanted humans to be ready for anything, not for revenge but for survival and strength. Jack often said to the crew, "The Council thinks we are small, weak, and naive. That is why we will be ready when they are not." The fleet was not large by Council standards. Earth had fewer ships than many member worlds, but humans were different. Every ship was designed to do many jobs. Every crew member could fight, repair, or command a vessel. Humans did not rely on numbers alone. They relied on skill, creativity, and adaptability. While the fleet was being built, scientists worked on advanced technologies. Energy shields that could repair themselves, engines that could fold space in unexpected ways, weapons that did not destroy planets but disabled enemy ships quickly and silently. These were not weapons for war, they were tools for survival, and humans worked on them in secrecy, far from Council eyes. Ethan and Maya often argued over designs. Maya wanted faster engines, Ethan wanted stronger shields. Jack watched their debates with quiet amusement. "Every argument makes our ships stronger," he told them. "Every mistake teaches us something new. The Council will never see it coming." Humans also trained their crews differently. Soldiers were not just trained to fight, they were trained to think. They practiced strategy games, simulated Council attacks, and learned to act without orders if needed. Every human in the fleet was expected to be smart, not just brave. Young recruits often asked Jack why humans were working so hard. "We can't fight the Council now," some said. "Why risk so much?" Jack answered patiently. "Because one day we will not be weak. Because one day we will have the chance to survive without fear. Because the Council betrayed us, but we will not betray ourselves. We will be ready." Outside the asteroid shipyards, Earth civilians were also preparing. Laura Bennett worked with engineers and scientists to make sure Earth itself could survive. Cities were being reinforced. Power grids were upgraded. Spaceports were expanded in secret. Even agriculture and food production were improved to handle long-term isolation. Laura understood that survival was not just about ships and weapons. It was about society, culture, and hope. Humans needed to be strong on Earth before they could be strong in space. She often said, "A fleet alone cannot save humanity. A people who can think, plan, and endure can." Meanwhile, the Council continued to ignore Earth. They believed humans were still weak, hiding in fear. Aliens reported that Earth was quiet, peaceful, and unthreatening. Council leaders congratulated themselves for their victory, unaware that humans were not idle. Humans were learning, building, and improving in every way. One day, Jack received a message from one of the scouts near the edge of Council space. "They think we are gone," the scout said. "Their fleets patrol without care. Their sensors are blind to what we are doing." Jack read the message and nodded. "Good," he said quietly. "Let them be blind, let them think they have won. That will make our work stronger." Deep in another hidden shipyard, Maya worked on a new type of energy drive. "This is risky," she said to Ethan. "It could fail, or it could give us speed no one has ever seen." Ethan looked at the design carefully. "Then we will test it." Humans always take risks, but we also survive them. This drive could be our advantage. For months, humans worked without pause. Ships were completed and tested. Crews practiced in simulations that felt real. Engineers discovered new materials that were lighter and stronger. Scientists found ways to make energy weapons more efficient and safer. Every small improvement added up. Every day, humans became more prepared. Jack often visited the training simulators. He watched young officers make mistakes, then correct them. He saw crews learn to trust each other and think for themselves. "This is what makes humans strong," he said to Laura once. "Not our numbers, not our weapons, our minds." As humans trained, they also observed the Council. They watched alien fleets move, studied their tactics, and learned their weaknesses. Humans discovered patterns the Council thought were secret. They realized that the Council relied on assumptions, that humans were weak, slow, and predictable. The Council had forgotten one rule: humans were never predictable. Jack called a meeting with the top commanders of the fleet. "We are not ready to fight the Council," he said, "but we are ready to survive anything, and when the time comes we will act, not out of anger." Not out of revenge, but because we must survive and ensure no one ever betrays us like this again. Laura spoke next. We will not be reckless, but we will not be afraid. Humans will become stronger, smarter, and cleverer. We will use every advantage we have. And we will protect each other. That is our way. The council still believed humans were hiding in fear. Reports came in that Earth was quiet, peaceful, and harmless. The council congratulated themselves for their cleverness. No one noticed that humans were building a hidden fleet, a fleet that could change shape, move fast, and act in ways the council could never imagine. In the hidden shipyards, Ethan and Maya watched a new ship's engine come online. The hum of energy filled the room. Lights blinked on consoles, the ship systems ran perfectly. It works, Ethan said quietly. They will never see this coming, Maya smiled. Not yet, but one day they will. Jack visited the ship and ran tests. Every system performed better than expected. Humans are clever, he said softly. We can survive anything. We will survive the council, the betrayal, and everything they think will stop us. Outside the shipyard, Earth continued life as normal. Children played in parks. Farmers worked in fields. People went to school, to work, to markets. But under the surface, the world was different. Humans were learning, planning, and preparing. They were becoming something stronger, something cleverer, something the council could never predict. Jack often looked at the stars and thought of the council. He remembered their smiles, their words, and their betrayal. But he did not dwell on it. Humans had learned a new way, to act quietly, to plan carefully, and to prepare without drawing attention. The council had made a mistake. They thought humans were weak. They thought humans were naive. They had underestimated them, and that was humanity's greatest strength. In the hidden corners of space, humans built ships that could fold space, hide in plain sight, and adapt to any situation. Crews trained every day, learning, practicing, and improving. Engineers tested new technologies, learning from every small failure. Scientists experimented, taking risks and discovering ways to make humans stronger. Jack spoke to the fleet often. We are not fighting now, he said. But we are preparing, we are learning, and when the time comes, we will not fail. Humans do not give up, we do not surrender. We survive and we grow stronger every day. Months turned into years. Humans quietly expanded their hidden fleet. The council still ignored them, believing Earth to be peaceful and unimportant. But humans were no longer the same. They were clever, patient, and strong. They had learned from betrayal. They had learned that survival required intelligence, planning, and patience, and humans waited. They waited quietly, patiently, and confidently. They knew that one day they would no longer be underestimated. One day the council would see humans not as weak, naive, or foolish, but as a force to be reckoned with. For now, humans were preparing. For now, humans were learning. And for now, humans were surviving. And somewhere deep in the hidden shipyards of Earth, Ethan and Maya looked at the stars and whispered the same thought. The council will never expect this. Years had passed since humanity withdrew from the Galactic Council's space. The hidden shipyards had grown larger. Engineers like Ethan Cross and Maya Lopez had completed dozens of new ships. These ships were unlike anything the Council had ever seen. They could change shape, move silently, and appear anywhere the humans wanted. Humans had prepared quietly, patiently, and carefully. Jack Morrow stood on the bridge of one of the largest ships, the Horizon. The ship hummed softly around him, energy flowing through its systems. Crews moved quickly but quietly, checking systems, running simulations, and reviewing plans. Jack's eyes rested on a holographic map of Council space. He traced the paths of their fleets. Every movement, every patrol, every assumption the Council had made was recorded. Humans knew where the Council would strike first and where they would be weakest. We are ready, Jack said to himself, but he did not speak aloud. He did not need to. Every officer on the bridge understood. Humans had waited for this day, trained for this day, and prepared for this day. The first scouts were sent forward. Small, stealthy ships moved ahead of the fleet, folding through space, leaving no trace. They observed Council patrols, confirmed the positions of fleets, and returned without being detected. The Council was still blind to humanity's preparations. They believed humans were still hiding, weak and harmless. Commander Alex Rivers, a young and sharp officer, led the scout team. He had trained for years, learning every tactic Jack had taught. Everything looks normal, he reported when he returned. No patrols near our path. They have no idea we are here, Jack nodded. Good, keep monitoring, but do not engage. Patience is our weapon now. Meanwhile, back on Earth, civilians watched the skies with curiosity and hope. They saw unusual lights and movements in the distance, but they did not worry. They trusted that Jack, Alex, and the fleet were doing what was necessary. Life on Earth continued, but people knew that humanity was no longer hiding just to survive. They were hiding to strike with purpose when the time came. The fleet moved quietly through unclaimed space, hiding behind asteroids and gas clouds. Humans did not attack first. That was not their goal. Their goal was precision, planning, and control. They could strike with speed and surprise, disabling the Council before the aliens even understood what had happened. On the first day of their approach, the fleet reached the edge of Council space. Sensors detected nothing unusual. Council patrols were moving slowly, confident that humanity was still weak and retreating. Jack studied the readings carefully. "They are blind," he said. "Everything they assume about us is wrong. That is our advantage." Alex Rivers and his scouts were sent further ahead to observe specific Council fleet movements. The young commander felt a mixture of excitement and tension. "We have trained for this moment," he told his team. "Do exactly what we practiced, no mistakes." The first real engagement came quietly. A Council patrol ship passed near a human scout. It did not detect the humans, but the humans detected it. The scouts silently disabled its engines using a precision electronic pulse. The ship drifted silently, powerless, and the crew was temporarily stunned. No alarms were raised, no one else noticed. "Perfect," Alex whispered over the comms. "They will never know we are here." Jack observed the operation from the horizon. A faint smile crossed his face. Humans had trained for years to be precise, patient, and clever. This was the moment where all that preparation mattered. Humans could strike without being seen, and when they acted, they would act perfectly. Meanwhile, Maya Lopez monitored the fleet's energy systems. "Engines are stable," she reported. "Weapons are online but not armed, shields are strong, all systems ready." Ethan Cross stood beside her. "They won't see us coming," he said, "and when they do, it will be too late." As the fleet moved deeper into Council space, human scouts observed more fleets, more patrols, and more defense positions. The Council's arrogance was clear. They had believed that humans were still hiding, small and weak. They did not expect clever ships that could move in unexpected ways, that could disable fleets silently or strike with precision. Jack called a meeting with all fleet commanders. "We are not here to destroy without purpose," he said. "We are here to remind the Council that betrayal has consequences. We strike when necessary, but we do not act out of anger. We act with strategy and control. That is what makes us strong." The fleet moved to a key Council system. It was a supply hub, lightly defended but vital for the Council's logistics. Humans could take control without heavy combat. This would be their first major test, a strike that showed power without reckless destruction. Alex Rivers led the assault. Human ships moved silently into position, folding space and hiding behind planets and debris. The Council forces were caught off guard. Humans disabled their communication systems and cut off reinforcements. Within hours, the supply hub was under human control. Jack observed the operation with pride. "This is what patience and planning can do," he said. "We did not rush. We did not attack blindly. We used our intelligence, our skills, and our technology." On the hub, crews worked quickly to secure resources. Supplies, data, and ships were taken intact. Humans did not destroy the system unnecessarily. They needed the Council to understand that this was precision, not revenge. Meanwhile, the Council began to realize something was wrong. Reports came in of missing patrols, disabled ships, and unusual anomalies. Panic spread quickly. "How can this be?" one Council officer demanded. "Humans were weak, they were hiding." Jack watched these reports with quiet satisfaction. Humans had prepared in secret, trained in silence, and grown strong. The Council had assumed weakness, and that assumption was their greatest mistake. Ethan and Maya monitored the fleet from the hidden command stations. "They still think we are small," Ethan said. "And that will be their undoing." As the days passed, humans continued to secure strategic positions. They did not attack every system. They did not need to. Each move was calculated. Each strike was precise. Humans were showing the Council that they had grown clever, disciplined, and dangerous in ways the Council had never expected. Jack called another meeting with commanders. "The Council will respond," he said. "They may try to attack us directly, or they may try to negotiate." Either way, we remain calm, precise, and strong. Our goal is survival and control, nothing more, nothing less. The Council attempted a counterattack. Fleets were sent to intercept humans, but they were too slow. Human ships folded space unpredictably, striking from angles the Council could not anticipate. In one engagement, a Council fleet of 10 ships was disabled within minutes. No human was killed, no ship destroyed unnecessarily. The Council did not understand what had happened. Jack Morrow watched the reports and shook his head. "They still do not see us," he said. "Even now, they think this is luck or coincidence. They do not realize we have been preparing for years." On Earth, Laura Bennett monitored the operations. She watched young officers and engineers working together seamlessly. She felt pride in humanity's growth. "We have been betrayed, but we have survived," she told Jack during a secure comm link. "And now we are showing the universe what it means to underestimate humans." Jack nodded. "This is only the beginning," he said. "The Council will never forget this, and neither will we, but we act not out of revenge. We act out of necessity, intelligence, and patience." The fleet continued its operations quietly but efficiently. Each victory was precise. Each success taught humans more about the Council's weaknesses. Engineers noted patterns in the enemy's sensors. Strategists studied their fleet movements. Crews became faster, smarter, and more confident. Even as the Council scrambled to respond, humans had already moved to new positions. They were never where the Council expected them to be. They struck silently, controlled, and with precision. Alex Rivers led a reconnaissance team through a Council system filled with patrols. The Council believed humans would never risk such a move. But humans had trained for years, studied every patrol, and planned every step. In hours, the reconnaissance team had mapped the entire system, identified key weaknesses, and returned safely. Jack reviewed the mission reports. "Every move we make now is teaching the Council something," he said. "Not about revenge, not about anger, but about intelligence, skill, and preparation. They thought we were weak. They were wrong. They have always been wrong." The fleet continued its quiet campaign. Each strike, each mission, each observation strengthened humans further. The Council's confidence began to crumble, replaced with fear and confusion. Humans were no longer the naive species they had once dismissed. Ethan Cross and Maya Lopez watched the progress from their hidden lab. "They will never expect what comes next," Maya said. "No," Ethan agreed. "And that is the point. Humans are clever, humans survive, and now humans are strong." Jack stood on the bridge of the horizon, looking at the stars. For years, humanity had hidden, trained, and prepared. Now humans had arrived. Quietly, patiently, and decisively, they were showing the Council that betrayal had consequences. And the stars themselves seemed to recognize a new power rising. Humans were no longer just survivors. They were a force to be reckoned with. The Council had never faced anything like this. For decades, they had dismissed humanity as small, weak, and naive. They believed humans were hiding quietly, retreating after the betrayal, and would never strike back. They were wrong. From hidden positions in deep space, the human fleet had moved with precision, intelligence, and patience. Ships that the Council had never seen before disabled fleets took control of supply hubs and gathered vital information. Every operation had been careful, every strike calculated. Humanity had not attacked recklessly. They had not sought revenge. They had only prepared, and now they were ready. Jack Morrow stood on the bridge of the horizon, watching the latest reports. Council fleets were moving in confusion, trying to regroup and understand what was happening. Human scouts had disabled their sensors, disrupted communications, and identified weaknesses. Humans had shown the Council one thing clearly: underestimating them was a mistake the Council could not afford to repeat. "We have reached the edge of their main territory," Jack said quietly. "This is it. The Council will see us now, and they will have no choice but to respond." Commander Alex Rivers led a squadron of scouts ahead. They moved silently through a dense asteroid belt that masked their approach. Sensors picked up multiple Council fleets, larger than any humans had faced before. But humans were prepared. They had studied these fleets for years, learning their patrol patterns, their tactics, and their weaknesses. Ethan Cross monitored energy systems from a hidden command station. "All ships are ready," he reported. "Engines stable, weapons systems online, shields fully operational. We can engage without warning." Maya Lopez added, "They won't see us coming. We can strike before they even know we are here." Jack nodded. Remember, we do this without anger, precision, not revenge. Intelligence, not chaos. That is what makes us human. As the human fleet moved into position, the Council scrambled. Alarm signals rang out in Council command centers. Reports came in of missing patrols, disabled ships, and unexpected attacks on supply lines. Panic spread. Council delegates demanded answers, but no one had them. Humans were everywhere and nowhere at the same time. In the Council chambers, leaders argued. "Humans are supposed to be weak," one delegate shouted. "They cannot do this. They are hiding." "They are hiding no longer," another said, fear in their voice. "They are precise, organized, and stronger than we imagined. Every fleet we send is intercepted or disabled. Our systems are failing. We do not know where they are or what they will do next." Back in human space, Jack gathered the top commanders. "The Council is finally beginning to understand us," he said. "This is our moment, not for revenge, not for hatred, but to demand what we deserve: safety, respect, and freedom." Laura Bennett, observing from Earth, spoke over the secure communication line. "Remember, Jack, our goal is not to destroy them. It is to make sure humanity is never betrayed again. We act with restraint, intelligence, and purpose." Jack agreed. "Every strike we make will show our strength, but we will not destroy unless necessary. We are proving a point, not punishing them." The human fleet moved closer to the heart of Council space. Each ship acted with precision, disabling weapon systems, taking control of communication networks, and blocking reinforcements. Council forces were trapped by their own assumptions, thinking humans were still weak, when in reality the humans had mastered stealth, strategy, and coordination. Alex Rivers led the first engagement against a major Council fleet. His squadron struck from multiple directions at once, folding space and appearing behind enemy lines. Council ships were disabled before they could fire. Humans did not destroy them, they simply rendered them helpless. Within hours, the fleet was under human control. Jack Morrow observed from the horizon. "This is what years of preparation looks like," he said. "Every move, every calculation, every small detail has led to this moment." Meanwhile, Maya Lopez and Ethan Cross ensured the fleet's systems remained strong. "They are attacking from all sides," Maya said. "But our ships hold, shields are stable, weapons are online but unarmed, we control the fight." Ethan smiled. "The Council thinks chaos will win, but we have prepared for every possibility. They cannot surprise us anymore." The Council attempted to communicate with the humans. They sent messages demanding surrender and obedience. Jack Morrow received the first transmission personally. The holographic image of the Council leader appeared in front of him. "You will surrender immediately," the alien demanded. "You are outnumbered and outmatched. Humanity cannot resist the will of the Council." Jack looked at the image calmly. "Humanity does not surrender," he said. "We were betrayed, we were underestimated. We are not here to fight blindly or seek revenge. We are here to ensure the same betrayal never happens again." The Council leader's eyes widened. You control fleets we cannot counter. How is this possible?" Jack replied. "You underestimated us. That was your mistake. Now we act to protect ourselves and ensure our independence. You will leave human space, open access to shared trade routes, and allow us full transparency. That is non-negotiable." The Council leader hesitated. "If we refuse," Jack shook his head, "then you will continue to see what you did not expect. But know this, we do not attack without reason. We act only to protect ourselves and ensure trust is not broken again." Across Council space, humans continued to disable fleets and take control of key systems. Each operation was precise, careful, and controlled. Council ships that tried to attack were trapped or blocked. Every move taught humans more about Council tactics. Every strike demonstrated humanity's cleverness. Alex Rivers led a strike team to intercept a Council fleet attempting to retreat. Using unpredictable maneuvers and advanced folding space techniques, the human ships disabled the fleet without loss. The aliens had no idea what had hit them. Jack reviewed the operation. "They still do not see the full scope," he said. "But they will. They cannot ignore us now." Laura Bennett spoke to Jack. "Remember, Jack, our goal is control, not destruction. Make them see humanity's strength, but do not burn what can be saved." "This is how we teach them respect." Jack nodded. "Every action, every move, every strike is a lesson. We do not destroy unnecessarily. We show strength, intelligence, and restraint. That is what humans do best." The Council finally realized the full scale of the human fleet. Panic spread throughout their territories. Fleets that had once dominated entire systems were trapped, disabled, or controlled by humans. Council delegates sent urgent messages to each other, but communication was blocked by human operations. Jack Morrow called a final meeting with his commanders. "This is the moment to make them understand," he said. "We have shown precision, intelligence, and patience. We have proven that betrayal has consequences. Now we enforce humanity's terms." The human fleet moved to the Council's main command center. Ships appeared silently around the central system, folding space and arriving from multiple directions. Council fleets tried to resist, but humans had anticipated every move. Within hours, the center was surrounded. Jack Morrow contacted the Council leader. "This is your final opportunity," he said. "Withdraw from human space, allow access to shared trade routes, and enforce transparency. Humanity does not attack without reason, but we will act decisively if necessary." The Council leader hesitated. Every attempt to resist had failed. The humans were too clever, too precise, and too strong. Finally, the leader nodded. "We accept your terms. Humanity will have the access and transparency you demand. We understand your position." Jack Morrow ended the communication. "It is done," he said quietly. "The Council has learned their lesson." Across human-controlled systems, crews cheered quietly. No ships were destroyed unnecessarily. No lives were lost beyond what was needed to secure control. Humanity had acted with intelligence, restraint, and precision. They had survived betrayal and shown the universe that underestimating humans was a mistake. Back on Earth, Laura Bennett watched the communications from the fleet. "We have not sought revenge," she said. "We have protected our people and ensured the future. That is our strength." Jack Morrow looked at the stars. "We are no longer naive, we are not small, we are human, and the universe will remember that." Ethan Cross and Maya Lopez watched the fleet systems one last time before shutting down operations. "We did it," Ethan said quietly. Maya nodded. "Not with anger or hate, with intelligence, patience, and precision. That is how humans survive and grow stronger." Humanity had faced betrayal, prepared in silence, and now enforced its position among the stars. They had shown that strength was not only in numbers or firepower, it was in intelligence, patience, and the ability to act when the time was right. The Council would never forget this day. They had learned that humans were clever, disciplined, and impossible to underestimate. Jack Morrow watched the human fleet move back to Earth, leaving controlled systems behind as a reminder. "We do not destroy," he said. "We protect, we endure, and we grow. That is what it means to be human." And as the fleet returned, the stars themselves seemed to shine a little brighter, as if recognizing the rise of a species that had learned, survived, and conquered not with rage, but with patience and intelligence. Humans had won, not with hatred, not with destruction, but with the quiet strength that comes from preparation, cleverness, and an unbroken spirit. And the universe would never underestimate humanity again. After betraying humanity, the Galactic Council faced Earth's fleet.